said, "Oh, congratulations, Lieutenant Duke." As soon as I saw that, I wrote down, "Duke gonna die."
Yeah, Duke's a dead man.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I just wrote it down. I was like, Duke, I already knew it before. I was like,
Yeah.
I was waiting for it, like waiting for the moment. I was like, Duke gonna
Yeah,
die.
here's your promotion. Take your red shirt. Here you go.
yeah, there's hard tropes like that, right? It's like let's care just a little bit for that person who's about to get yoinked down the and so there's a little bit of a meta knowledge that the guy getting a promotion, he's not gonna make a girl that we've never seen before that's 2 weeks done with her rotation, probably not gonna make it. And ironically, he's a gold shirt and she's a blue shirt, and so there was this sort of like playing with the whole Trek, like red shirts always die. And so there was like, well, no, the yellow shirt died, the blue shirt died, anyone can die. And then by the end of the episode, we know, yes, and a very, important red shirt actually died. And so even in just the sort of subtleties of that, there was some fun to be had.
Actually, how hard was that for you? Because that was a little bit difficult. I know Ryan is probably going to say the same thing that I'm about to say, which is we have grown to really like Hemmer so much, and he's kind of attached to it. How hard is it to write that kind of out? I didn't expect that. I was like, that came out of left field for me. Hemmer's kind of exit from this show. But yeah, how hard is it to write such a character that everybody likes so much and is so good at being that sarcastic kind of witty guy?
It was tough. I mean, to be fair, we knew we were going to be killing that character off from before we even cast the actor. Like we had this discussion when we were talking about genres and we were talking about horror movies, and we're like, something horror movies really often do is they kill somebody off that you didn't expect to die. That's in Hitchcock, some of these big actors that he would cast would die like in the first act. And so we were like, what if we killed somebody that one of our main people? And it's like, well, we'd have to care about them and it'd have to be somebody, and the conversation started, and then we started creating the engineer as the Anar, and we cast Bruce. And Bruce Horak is just really amazing as
fabulous casting, by the way. Really cool.
Yeah, and he brought that to life. And then I remember watching some of the early dailies with him, and we're like, are we really gonna kill this guy off? Like, he's really good. I'm in love with the character.
Are we gonna back out of this?
Yeah.
He kept saying like, fuck, we fell in love with him, and it was like, well, that was the point. We said that was the point. Fall in love with the person. And then the chemistry that he had with Celia as Uhura was just like, we were putting them together, and we hoped that they would have that chemistry. But it was like lightning in a bottle. It made them easy.
Yeah.
Right. And so when it came to actually committing to like, this was the storyline that we talked about, right down to the wire. I was like, we're sure we're doing this. It's like, yeah. And I got choked up. I got teary-eyed. Like, I was like, what would I want to say if I had to say goodbye, or what would I want to hear if somebody I cared about was saying goodbye? And I just really kind of wanted it to resonate with people. And so I knew that it was good enough when I got choked up writing it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If it felt too much, or if it felt like, oh, I overdid it, or this just feels like lines. And I got a little teary-eyed. I said, okay.
It choked me up when I was watching it. I mean, because he says, I lived a good life. Like, that's one thing that somebody who is basically come to terms with the end. They analyze, you know what, I lived a good life. It's all right. I can call it quits now and not say, hey, I missed out on love. I missed out on traveling, or whatever it is that you consider to be a good life for yourself. But I really like the words of advice that he passed on to Uhura, which is, make a home for yourself and basically settle yourself and stop being, don't be all over the place. Just find that home for you and make it, he didn't say on the ship, but that was implied.
Yeah.
And my question is actually in relation to that storyline, is Uhura's reluctancy to be, on the ship, is that tied into Nichelle Nichols' reluctancy to kind of want to walk away from Star Trek and the whole conversation she had with, Martin Luther King?
Right. I never really drew that parallel, but it's interesting that you could see that. I think we were when we were writing that for her, we were trying to get into the mindset of a young person who is sort of like graduating college or about to graduate college, and having the pressures of being like a mega star, straight A student, you know, could go anywhere, can do anything. But because everyone has sort of been telling you that you're the best, does that necessarily mean that you have to do the top of the expectation?
Right.
You know, trying to shed that pressure, and then on top of that, for Aruhura, she was dealing with the tragedy of her parents.
Of her parents, right?
And but it's funny because we did talk a lot about Nichelle Nichols. I wonder if some of that sort of seeped in there, sort of the because we talked about expectations that people put on you. And I know Nichelle's story, there's a lot of that for her, that there's these, that she was struggling with the expectations of, you know, what a Black woman should be represented as on television. And am I just a silly space person in a skirt? And then the conversation you had with MLK was, no, you're a Black person in space, a Black woman in space,
right?
You know, kicking ass. And we definitely wanted that to be aspirational. And we had those conversations as well. As far as, you know, paying homage to what has been before, but also, you know, making it relevant to now, and then telling the story for people to resonate with now. And sorry if I got a little animated there, but like, I love, you know, this is why we write Trek, right? To make social commentary on things, to like open up people's minds to things, and you sneak it into the subtext, and you hope that it resonates. So like when people finally do get the subtext, or when they're like, hey, that means something to me, I'm like, yes, it's supposed to mean something to you. That's the point of Star Trek.
We did our job.
Right.
We did our job. Yeah.